It's time to race in MotoGP. .005 kilometres, just under 2.5 miles. That's the Ricardo Tormo circuit here on the outskirts of Spain's third largest city in Valencia. 14 corners, 5 of them right, 9 of them left. One of the tightest and shortest layouts on our record-breaking 22-round Grand Prix calendar. Got to be careful into that turn 2. We saw the two Hondas of Joan Mir and Luca Marini crash out of contention in the sprint there yesterday. Turn 8 is always a tricky braking zone as well around this Ricardo Tormo circuit. And then you have to be careful managing the rear tyre going through turn 13. 1, 2 and 8, most demanding for the brakes. As mentioned, that turn 13 is where it really is tough on the Michelin tyres. So many overtaking opportunities around this circuit. This was Marquez early on in the Grand Prix 2 years ago. So the final sprint action of 2025 saw Marco Bezzecchi find the factory pretty away in pole position. The front start device, though, not disengaging until turn 2, saw the Italian drop back quickly through the field from pole down to 6. There was this controversial collision between Jack Miller and Fermin Aldeguer, which dropped the Australian eventually out of the points after he served a long lap penalty. Bezzecchi fought his way back through into the top 6, but it was Alex Marquez who crowned what's been a fantastic 2025 so far with our final sprint gold medal around the Spaniard's neck. But coming up next, it's the countdown, it's the build-up to our 44th race in this incredible milestone MotoGP World Championship. 22 races, 5 continents, 18 countries. We have been to the 4 corners of the globe, haven't we? Championship, of course, decided quite some time ago now, 6 or 7 weeks ago in actual fact, when we started our 4-race flyaway tour over in Japan. Marc Marquez wrestling back control of the World Championship, being crowned a 7 times MotoGP World Champion. He's the new reference once again. He's going to be the rider to beat in 2026. That is not up for question. Brilliant, isn't it, to be back in Valencia, our first visit to this wonderful city and this great circuit in 2 years. Of course, we send out thoughts and prayers once again to all of the victims and the Valencian community after the devastating floods which stopped our visit here 1 year ago. MotoGP, of course, the MotoGP family and community coming together to contribute almost €2 million to the relief fund for Valencia. We have been welcomed back with open arms to our season finale round in 2025. First Grand Prix took place here all the way back in 1999. But who will close and sign off 2025 from the top step of the podium? As you can see, some of the Saturday morning sunshine we were blessed here on the Mediterranean East Coast. That has deserted us somewhat for our main race day. It is dry, if a little bit cool, and a little bit chilly. Alex Marquez then, our final sprint winner of the season, who will be our final Grand Prix winner of the campaign. Alex Marquez has had so much success so far in 2025. Yesterday's sprint victory, his 27th podium. He's never had a double win though, has he, in MotoGP. Talking you through then all of our season closing action in this milestone campaign. Matt Burton, Lewis Sotheby in the commentary box, Jack Appleyard down in pit lane. Just 27 laps then remaining of the championship. Marco Bezzecchi on pole position for the factory, probably trying to be the first Aprilia rider ever to win back-to-back Grand Prix after he triumphed over in Portimao just over the Portuguese-Spanish border 7 days ago. Are we going to get another different winner? 6 different winners in MotoGP in the last 6 Grand Prix for the first time in 5 years. But it's great to be back. Pedro Acosta. How many times have we asked this question, Lewis, in 2025? Well, this is, well, we keep saying, is today the day? Well, this is the last day for Acosta to become a first-time MotoGP winner in 2025.
If today isn't the day, his next opportunity will be on the 1st of March 2026 when we line up again in Buriram for the first Sunday Grand Prix of next season. That's the only thing in Pedro Acosta's mind here today, trying to end his wait for a maiden victory. In fairness, yesterday, I don't think it was going to happen, but any hope of it happening ended there with that mistake into turn 8. You could see how much Pedro Acosta was pushing to try and keep up with and ultimately overhaul Alex Marquez. In the end, he did neither, as the 73 streaked clear for a sprint victory, which underlines why he is the second best rider in MotoGP in 2025. And I guess underlines to Pedro Acosta just how much he still needs to do to finally get that first victory. He's had to, of course, wait since his MotoGP career began to claim victory. KTM have had to wait until, well, since the Spanish Grand Prix at Jerez in 2023, when they last won a sprint. You have to go back to Beirer in 2022 for the last time they won a Sunday Grand Prix. That was in the wet conditions of Beirer with Miguel Oliveira. You have to go all the way back to the Catalan Grand Prix of 2021 for the last time that we saw KTM win a full dry Grand Prix. So much still to be settled on this final day of the season. We do actually have some breaking news that has just dropped that we can bring you now. Is that Yamaha, as we're talking to you, have officially just confirmed via a press release that they will switch to the V4 engine for 2026. They've announced that in the last minute or so we can officially confirm to you and to Fabio Quartararo and company that the V4 will race across all Yamaha teams in 2026.
Yeah, good luck being the person that would have told Fabio Quartararo they weren't racing the V4 in 2026. Yeah, expected news and emerging from Yamaha. We welcome back, of course, this weekend. Great to see our now former MotoGP World Champion Jorge Martin back in action on the factory Aprilia. And Maverick Vinales is also back after a long injury layoff. He's missed 8 Grand Prix so far this year, has Vinales. That shoulder injury he suffered in that wet Q2 over the Sachsenring Grand Prix in Germany really has completely compromised the second half of the campaign for Vinales. But he's back in action. Good to see him ready to go here in Valencia. Alex Marquez then, sprint winner in pretty emphatic and dominant fashion over 13 laps yesterday, wasn't he? Michele Massini told Jack on the sprint grid yesterday that they expected Alex to be strong in the sprint, but stronger today. Well, given how strong he was in that sprint, that's a rather worrying message coming out of Gresini as far as the chasing pack are concerned.
The Silver Surfer, as he is this afternoon, riding a wave of momentum from his sprint win yesterday. He has seen quite a lot of silver, it's fair to say, this season, with many a second place, which has ultimately contributed to second place in the World Championship. That is the very eye-catching livery that the 73 will run here this afternoon for the final Grand Prix of the season, looking to achieve something, as Matt mentioned, that he hasn't done before, and that's a double in MotoGP. His route to the first half of that was paved clear by this fast start at the beginning of the sprint yesterday. Once he passed Marco Bezzecchi, there was never really much doubt as to who the sprint winner was going to be.
Yeah, yesterday was Alex's 17th sprint podium. 15 have come in this remarkable 2025. So many historic moments in this historic season, of course, completed one of them by the Marquez siblings. First time ever we've had 2 brothers first and second in the MotoGP World Championship. It all started, the writing was on the wall, wasn't it, for the opposition in 2025 when over in Thailand, our first Grand Prix, a 1-2 for Mark and Alex, the first time 2 brothers had ever finished first and second in a Grand Prix. Ending the season strongly as well. There's been some magic moments, hasn't there, so far for TrackHouse Aprilia. The highlight, Ralph Fernandez's maiden victory over in Phillip Island. There's been sprint podiums, close to the sprint podium yesterday, wasn't he, Ralph Fernandez? Can they end 2025 on the box for? Let's get the thoughts of TrackHouse boss Justin Marks, who's with Jack.
Yeah, great to be joined by Justin. First time I've seen him for quite some time, and quite a bit has happened since I've last seen you, Justin. Your team now officially MotoGP winners. What was the emotion like on that day, watching from afar?
Oh man, I wish I was there with everybody. I mean, the best part of it was just seeing how excited everybody on the team was. They've worked so hard. You know, when we came in 2024, we told them that if we keep doing what we're doing and stick to the plan here, that this is something that we feel like we can accomplish. We can win these World Championship races. So I was just incredibly happy for Raul. He's gone through an amazing growth period for himself this year. He's definitely in contention to win the race today. Very confident on his bike today. But Australia was, that's where the magic happens. I mean, that's what we're here. We're racers. We want to win. And I was just really, really happy for everybody on the TrackHouse team.
As you say, the team have been so successful in four wheels with NASCAR, so how did the emotions compare to have finally done it with this very, very young project with two wheels and in MotoGP?
Well, it closed the circle. I mean, it made the story complete that we were trying to shoot for right now in this age of the company, and that, you know, it's a difficult thing. We're racing two disciplines that are just so different from each other. There's not a lot of crossover. There's not a lot of learnings from each other. There are some, but they're so unique. It's just great for the TrackHouse story that we can go and we can say, look, we're trying to do something cool and unique and new in the motorsports industry, but we're also racers and we're competitors, and winning is the most important thing for us. So I would say one of the coolest things for me personally was, you know, watching that race from Charlotte Motor Speedway the weekend that we were racing in NASCAR, and we won the NASCAR race the next day, and or later that day, and walking down through the garage area and seeing all the fans in the NASCAR community congratulating us on the MotoGP win is really cool too.
You must be really excited for what's to come next year as well. Raul in great form at the moment, finally realising that potential, and we've seen this year in moments what I is capable to do.
We have two incredible riders. And Raul's really embraced his role as a leader on the team. You know, everybody moves at a different pace. Everybody grows at a different speed, and Raul's just in a place really, really good mentally right now. He really understands what he needs from the bike. He's riding confidently, he's healthy, he's feeling good. So very excited about what's ahead, because there's a lot of talent in that young man. I think he can win a lot of races, and confident where the Aprilia bike is. I think it's going to continue to get better. Excited about what they're working on behind the scenes. And then I mean, you know, it's the way that he came out of the gates this year early in the season, it really shows the speed that he's got, and he's just only going to get better. And I think next year, the sophomore year, being able to go back to all these tracks for a second time, having experienced them on a MotoGP bike before, will just make him better and better and better. So I think we have the bikes to win, we have the mechanics to win, and the team to win, and we certainly have two of the riders that can win. So I'm super pumped for our future.
As you should be as well. Hopefully it's a good day for you, Justin. Great to see you. Enjoy the race.
Thank you, appreciate it. Have fun.
Yeah, great little interview that, Jack. Thank you very much, with Trackhouse boss Justin Marks. So they've certainly made their mark, haven't they, in MotoGP this season, contributing to Aprilia's most successful season in the MotoGP World Championship. 3 wins so far, 2 for Bezzecchi, 1 for Raul Fernandez in that brilliant Phillip Island Grand Prix. Joan Mir, unfortunately, one of 2 Spanish stars in this upcoming 27-lap season finale that will have to be in the long lap. One for Mir because of this moment which cleaned out Marini yesterday, Lewis.
Of all the riders to take out with unerring accuracy, it was his teammate Luca Marini who was swept up along into the gravel trap by the errant Joan Mir, who, as you can see there, was immediately clasping his hands in apology in the direction of Luca Marini, who had said, you know, it happens. He wasn't too fussed and too disappointed with it. Marini, once again, I guess, cursing how he was the third rider in a very close top 2 in qualifying 1, which leaves him 13th on the grid for the 3rd consecutive Grand Prix. And just to underline what you saw on screen just before we showed Joan Mir in the HRC Castrol box, Honda looking to try and shed some concessions here this afternoon. But of course, with no points scored yesterday in the sprint after their riders took each other out, they need a top 7 finish this afternoon to move up from rank C to, or rank D to C here this afternoon. Not an easy task.
It was all about high fives in the final Grand Prix of 2025 as far as Fabio Di Giannantonio is concerned. In Q2, he took his career 5th front row in MotoGP and his 5th sprint podium after this late move. A real good fight, wasn't it, between Digia and Raul Fernandez late on. Yeah, no wonder he's got a smile on his face, because he had to force that one, did Di Giannantonio. He actually said after the sprint how well and how impressed he was with Raul Fernandez's performance on the Trackhouse Aprilia. An excellent 4th place at the checker flag from Fernandez. He was, of course, on the podium and collecting a trophy on our last Grand Prix in Valencia, wasn't he, Fabio Di Giannantonio, before the stewards took it off him afterwards. There's his bronze medal for the sprint podium yesterday. But over the line on the podium here 2 years ago, before a tyre pressure penalty saw him punted back to 4th.
That's enough to send warning to his opposition on the front row that Digi can't be discounted this afternoon. I guess a lot will depend for him how he gets that bike off the line, which has been a bit hit and miss over the course of the season. As Gigi Dall'Igna chats to the reigning World Superbike champion, Toprak Razgatlioglu, who will make his public MotoGP testing debut in just 48 hours time. We will be here throughout the day at the Ricardo Tormo circuit, bringing you full live coverage of that day of testing, where we will see Toprak. Don't know yet what his number will be, but we will see him on board the Yamaha V4 as he begins his MotoGP adventure.
Toprak's just saying to Delinia, come on, tell us a few secrets. How do you do it? How have you built the best motorcycle in Grand Prix racing history? Ducati have the best MotoGP rider at present, don't they? Yamaha about to get the best world superbike rider at present as Razgatlioglu moves over to MotoGP. What a mouth-watering prospect that is for all of us in MotoGP in 2026. This was a very, very big talking point in that 13-lap sprint yesterday, wasn't it? The collision at turn 2 involving Jack Miller and Aldeguer, which carried on long into the evening, Lewis, didn't it?
Yeah, Jack Miller, as you can see there on screen, wasn't exactly in support and agreement with the penalty that was handed out to him. Initially, it was a 3-position drop, which Jack Miller took zero notice of, until then that was upgraded to a long lap penalty, which he realised he probably should serve in case it carried over into today. Jack Miller, as you saw there, describing the penalty, amongst other things, as ridiculous. Certainly you can't say that Jack Miller went off the racetrack, stayed on the racetrack, and perhaps questioned the tactics of Aldeguer and the role he played in that collision. That's all behind them though now, and they will focus on a Grand Prix which lies in store this afternoon, where they start next to each other, 8th and 9th.
Day by day, race by race, that Fermin Aldeguer fan club is a rapidly expanding fan club, isn't it? There's been a lot of support coming the way of the number 54 after he was crowned MotoGP Rookie of the Season. A podium finish, of course, in Le Mans in Austria, and then a breakthrough victory in Mandalika, becoming the second youngest rider in Premier Class history to win in MotoGP.
Pecco Bagnaia then gets set to clamber aboard his factory Ducati. Ducati GP25 that I don't think he's going to be devastating to see very little more of at the end of this season. Bagnaia has had a miserable second half in particular of 2025, but you can't say the first half was particularly stellar either. Bagnaia goes from 16th place on the grid here this afternoon, starts side by side with the outgoing 2024 champion Jorge Martin. They are 16th and 17th respectively. Bagnaia, of course, lost any remaining hope of finishing third in the World Championship yesterday afternoon when he failed to score in the sprint, and Marco Bezzecchi took 5th place. 4th place could still be decided here today. Pedro Acosta is 6 points clear of Pecco Bagnaia, and it's fair to say that where they're starting on the grid, Acosta will take quite some turn to lose that place to Bagnaia. Acosta 5th on the grid, Bagnaia 16th, and 6 points is the difference in favour of the KTM rider.
Hottest ticket in town this weekend, a ticket for this season finale in MotoGP. One of the biggest sporting events in Europe, without question, this weekend. One of the biggest sporting events in the world, as the greatest motorsport show on earth reaches its conclusion in 2025. A season which sees Marco Bezzecchi clinch 3rd place overall for the 2nd time in the last 3 years on 2 different motorcycles and for 2 different teams. It's been a sensational second half of the campaign, hasn't it, as far as Marco Bezzecchi is concerned. He's been scoring sprint podiums for fun. He's taken victories this year in Silverstone and in Portimao. Can he be Aprilia's first ever back-to-back winner? Never himself won back-to-back Grand Prix. Has Marco Bezzecchi, as our final sighting lap then of the season commences here in Valencia. Still plenty more to get through in this final race day of the campaign. Of course, just in the paddock later on this evening, around 6:30 p.m. will be the start of the MotoGP 2025 awards, which you can follow across all of our social media platforms. As then the riders come to the grid, you can just see there in the middle of your picture, just moving out your picture now, is Jorge Martin. Absolutely brilliant to see him back for one final play in what has been a dismal and injury-ravaged 2025. Of course, it was this stage last year where Martin fulfilled a lifelong dream. He was crowned MotoGP World Champion in 2024. He could not have envisaged, he could not have imagined what was to lie in store in a first season on the factory Aprilia, where there has been comeback after comeback injury after injury. Martin, though, was on course maybe for a point-scoring finish in the sprint yesterday, just looking for some much-needed confidence.
It is worth just reminding you all at home, it's not really going to change Jorge Martin's life today because, as Matt mentioned, he's after seat time, but he does have a double long lap penalty to serve in this Valencia Grand Prix as a consequence of the last time we saw him racing before this weekend when he took out his teammate Marco Bezzecchi at the start of the Motegi sprint. So that might actually do Martin a favour because it will get him into some clear track at the back of the field. He will have 2 long lap penalties to serve today.
Well, those two Hondas will be hoping that they avoid each other in this full distance Grand Prix today. Luca Marini and Joan Mir, a bit of friendly fire at turn 2, which will see Mir have to come through the long lap penalty himself. So Marco Bezzecchi then, certainly one to watch. If you can carry on this rich vein of form from part 2 of 2025, you do feel that Bezzecchi and a fully fit and healthy Jorge Martin on what will surely be an improved factory Aprilia next season. Will they threaten Ducati's recent domination of the MotoGP World Championship? Ducati have not lost the championship, of course, since Fabio Quartararo took the glory for Yamaha back in 2021. But Aprilia have emerged as a consistent threat, particularly at times in the second half of the season. And what lies in store for KTM? Well, you have to believe that the first 5 or 6 Grand Prix, maybe even early, the first 2, 3, 4 Grand Prix of 2026, so vital for manufacturers like Yamaha and like KTM, who will be more than well aware that they have 2 top talents on board their motorcycles right now. Well, Pedro Acosta and Fabio Quartararo have made it crystal clear. They've been unequivocal in saying that if they don't get competitive machinery in 2026, they will be looking for new employers in 2027 and beyond.
2 riders that are more than ready to win, but motorcycles at the moment that are not. There is Fabio Quartararo as the max exodus from the grid continues. Riders seeking some peace and quiet and potentially a comfort break before this Grand Prix gets underway. Let's show you the grid then. Marco Bezzecchi, Alex Marquez, Fabio Di Gianantonio is your front row. As expected, it's hard for a medium rear that is the preferred pick in the full-length Grand Prix. That's what we also see on row 2. It's Raul Fernandez, Pedro Acosta and Fabio Quartararo. Morbidelli, Miller and Aldeguer on row 3. Mir, Zarco and Agura is your 4th row of the grid. Luca Marini lines up 13 for the 3rd Grand Prix in a row, ahead of Aleix Espargaro wildcarding for Honda and Brad Binder for KTM. Pecco Bagnaia, his final Grand Prix, which he'll be quite pleased to hear, in 2025, 16th ahead of Jorge Martin, who has a double long lap penalty. Miguel Oliveira in 18th place, and we can now head down ahead of his final full-time appearance in MotoGP. Miguel Oliveira speaking to Jack.
Yeah, great of Miguel to chat to us onto the grid, which I'm sure is an emotional one. Miguel, right now ahead of lights out, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. I mean, as good as you can feel about a race start, you know, as the normal weekend. It is special to be the last one, and yeah, definitely feels that way now. Didn't felt it during the whole weekend, but being here, thinking as the last time, I was quite happy today. This morning I woke up and I thought, there's actually the last time I'm doing the parade on the truck. But then I thought also the other riders for this season, so I mean, it's quite relative, but yeah, obviously super happy to be able to enjoy the weekend like this. I think the race is gonna be tough with these temperatures, but you know, we showed a good pace in the warm-up, so hopefully we can find that feeling again on the race.
Miguel, it's been great having you in the Grand Prix paddock. I'm sure it won't be the last time we see you line up. Enjoy the last one.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jack. Yeah, the end of an era as far as Miguel Oliveira is concerned. Of course, the end of an era as well for one of his former team bosses, who spoke in nothing but glowing terms about his relationship with Miguel just a few days ago when he joined us in the commentary box. Of course, as we say, farewell, full-time at least, to one of our paddock stalwarts, somebody who has contributed so much to the current success of the MotoGP World Championship, as today is the day that Herve Poncharal, long-serving team owner and principal of Tech 3, for Yamaha, and of course most recently for KTM. Says goodbye to the MotoGP World Championship, taking over the reins next year. It's an exciting prospect, isn't it? Gunther Steiner will take over Tech 3 next season. And right on cue, this is going to be very, very emotional as far as Herve is concerned. He has been in this paddock for well over 40 years. What a servant, what a character he has been. Yeah, we'll kiss you goodbye as well, Herve. I'm sure it's not the final au revoir, but what a character, what a personality. And as mentioned, he has contributed so much, not only as Tech 3 team owner for so many years, he was president of IRTA, the International Race Teams Association, for so many years as well. He will be missed, but as we said on Friday when he joined myself and Lewis in the commentary box, don't be a stranger, and I don't think he will be.
No. Anyone who's met him or knows him in this paddock, whether you've known him for 30 years or 30 minutes, you'll all have a warm story to tell about Herve Poncharal. It will not be quite the same without him, but it will still be every bit as eventful at Tech 3 next season, with Gunther Steiner heading the operation, Richard Coleman, of course, entering as the team manager too. And a big year coming up for Tech 3 and everybody next season, the final season of this current iteration of technical regulations. The final Grand Prix of 2025 then comes up ahead of us, with Marco Bezzecchi on pole position, looking to buck the trend of what happened yesterday when he was, of course, shunted back through the order on that very first lap when his front rider device didn't engage. He'll be trying to even the score with Alex Marquez, just as he did a week ago, of course, when Bez had to watch others celebrating the sprint before he went on to dominate the Sunday Grand Prix.
Yeah, at the end of this Grand Prix, there won't be a dry eye in the house, will they, down at the French-based Tech 3 team? As mentioned, it is good to welcome back Maverick Viñales. Hard to believe, isn't it, that throughout his entire Grand Prix career, Maverick had never missed a race in any class injured before in his career. He's missed the last 8. Good to see him back in action, though. Nicola Bulliger continues to deputise for the injured Marc Marquez. But today offers the last opportunity, the last dance as far as Pedro Acosta's concerned, in trying to win that first MotoGP race. He was brilliant once again, second in the sprint. We've got the boss, Pit Beirer, who joins Jack.
Yeah, and I'm sure Pitt's absolutely delighted at the fact that this is the last time in 2025. I'm going to ask him the same question. Is today the day?
I hope so, but I also will repeat, if we fight for the podium, I'm happy. That's where we wanted to come back so badly, and we worked really hard for that. The whole factory did, and the team here did, and also Pedro did. So we worked our way up there together, and so yeah, he deserves that win more than anything, how hard he wants it. But like I said, happy for fighting for podium. From this position here, if we have another start like yesterday, I think we have a good chance on anything, but Valencia is not so easy to pass, so let's just get clean through that first corner and make it a really good one for everybody.
Thanks, Pit. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks, as always, to Pit Beirer. Well, it's the end of an era in terms of Grand Prix racing as far as Somkat Chantra is concerned. Of course, he will partner Jake Dixon in Honda's Factory World Superbike team in 2026. But he leaves with some special memories and some special moments for our Thai fans. The first Thai rider ever to compete in the MotoGP World Championship, and the first Thai rider to score points in the MotoGP World Championship as well. He got that accolade with a 15th place over in Assen. And more good news as far as Thai MotoGP fans are concerned, because on the eve of this final Grand Prix of 2025 here in Valencia, we got the news that we are going to be returning to the Chang International Circuit in Beirer until 2031, including at least, I know it's obviously a very popular stopover on our Grand Prix calendar. It will be the kick-off to 2026 once again. So yeah, a long-term future secured for the Thai Grand Prix at Beirer. Well, let's hope Hondas, the factory Hondas in particular, go a little bit further in this Grand Prix than what they did in the sprint yesterday. Joan Mir and Luca Marini tangling at turn 2. Let's get the thoughts out of this final Grand Prix from the boss, Alberto Puig, with Jack.
Yeah, worst nightmare for a team manager yesterday, Alberto. Has anything been said overnight or this morning to try and keep the guys apart?
No, it's not a nightmare. This is racing. So you never know what can happen in a race. So things happen and this can happen, but if it happens with your two riders, it's really bad. But I mean, everybody involved in this sport know that these things happen, so I'm this is what it is. Let's hope that today things go better.
Looking at the pace of the factory guys, what do you think their potential is today?
Not easy. I mean, in this track, if you are not in the first 2 rows, I think you are history. It's impossible because the first 3 corners are super important. But once again, it's a race and you don't know what can happen. I mean, of course, they need a good start and they need to, in the beginning, they have to pull. I mean, we saw the pace of the yesterday race. I think today will be a little slower, but not that much slower. So we will see.
Thanks, Alberto. Have fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, as always, once again to Alberto Puig. As you can see, the riders just getting set for the pre-race grid ceremony. You can just see there as well, it certainly feels like it's some of the coolest conditions we've had of the weekend so far. The wind is seemingly at its strongest. We were expecting some gust to blast around this Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia. So the riders then get set for the pre-race grid ceremony and embrace there between 2 very experienced riders, aren't they? Aleix Espargaro and Jack Miller, well in excess of 600 Grand Prix, those 2 mustered between the pair of them. As Alex Marquez and his Gresini teammate Fermin Aldeguer have a little bit of a pre-race chat. What a year it's been for the Italian squad. Independent, top team of the season, top independent rider, rookie of the year. Anything that they pretty much could have won, they did win, apart from the biggest prize of all, that Tower of Champions, lifted once again by Marc Marquez at the Mobility Resort in Motegi. Very, very shortly, we'll be starting our traditional national anthem ceremony as the Ferris wheel overlooking turn 8 here in Valencia. Pretty good vantage point wherever you sit around this Ricardo Tormo circuit, this stadium atmosphere. Well, an even better view if you've blagged a seat on the Ferris wheel for any part of this 27-lap Grand Prix.
Well, it's probably the only seat left unfilled for this Valencia Grand Prix. A sellout crowd in a season where more of you have come through the turnstiles to watch this brilliant sport in person than in any other campaign of this great MotoGP World Championship. We thank all of you, whether you've watched from home or whether you've watched here at the circuit, for making this the incredible show that it is.
9 record crowds, over 3.5 million fans have come to experience the unique atmosphere, the adrenaline rush, the buzz that only MotoGP can give you, as we get set then now for the anthem ceremonies.
Valencians en peu al sense que nostra veu la llum s'allume i un sol novell però frenar només glòries a Espanya tots a una veu ser más fingao y en el taller y en el can remoleten cantis de amor himnes de pau flames l'aire nostra senyera gloria a la patria visca Valencia.
Brilliant. What an anthem, the Valencian community anthem by Francisco. Up next, the Spanish national anthem. So our final grid ceremony of 2025 is complete. All that's left for us to do now is go racing for the final time in 2025, as we also bid to say farewell to our beloved Tech 3 boss Herve Poncharal, who joins Jack down on the grid.
Herve, what are the emotions like?
Very high, 10 out of 10 I would say, but you know, emotional, but not sad. You know, happy with the life I've had so far, happy with what, you know, exactly what, with what life gave me. Happy to have been, you know, fulfilling my dreams. I remember when I was behind the fence, you know, as a teenager, and to see what we have done. You know, the 45 years in this paddock, meeting so many, honestly, great people, great riders, living so many emotions, discovering so many countries, doing a lot of crazy things, winning races, winning a championship. So, you know, I have to be happy, and I'm really ready for the next chapter, which will be, I don't know, I will tell you next time we talk to each other. But, you know, I want to enjoy this last race. We're not going to be fighting for podium, unfortunately, but I'm going to watch it with passion as usual, and everything is fine. I'm happy, and I would like to thank everyone who, you know, who's been living in this paddock, because they're my family, they're my friend. I know almost everyone, you know, every name, every people, and for sure it's going to be sad, and I will miss them, but I will be back. I don't know how, when, but I will be back.
Well, that's great news. I look forward to that conversation in the future.
Thanks,
you.
Jack. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a career. Yeah. Whatever lies in store next, whatever the next chapter is, whatever the next adventure is, I'm sure Herve will make a big success of it. When you look back, 250cc world champions with Olivier Jacques, Shinya Nakano, Alex Barros, Marco Melandri, Colin Edwards, Ben Spies, Andrea Dovizioso, Cal Crutchlow, Bradley Smith, Joan Zarco, Jonas Folger, Miguel Oliveira and Pedro Acosta. MotoGP podium finishers for Tech 3, whether it be on Yamahas or on KTM. Poncharal, though, ready to pass the baton in terms of ownership of Tech 3. Jorge Martin's already passed the baton in terms of the MotoGP World Championship. Marquez will return at Thailand next March as our reigning world champion. Fabio Quartararo, just the one podium so far this season for Quartararo on a Sunday. Well, another legend down the grid, Max Biaggi, 4-time 250cc world champion, world superbike champion as well, is with Jack.
Yeah, of course, in the corner of Marco Bezzecchi and Aprilia in this one. Max, it didn't go to plan yesterday, but if the start can go right, then it's clear that Marco's got the chance at winning this one.
Yeah, that's what we all think and hope. You know, yesterday we have an issue with the motorcycle we didn't expect, but I think they fixed the issue during the warm-up too, and we have a good chance. We hopefully gonna be the same at Portimao. Remember when on Sunday smoke everybody be in front, and so we're very confident. But let's see how we start, and if we can imagine they can manage the rear tire, especially in this cold condition, because the weather conditions change. But we'll see. We are optimistic.
Thanks, Max. Enjoy.
No problem.
So it's an optimistic Max Biaggi, optimistic that Marco Bezzecchi, just as he did 7 days ago in Portugal, bounced back from perhaps a less than expected sprint result to win the main Grand Prix. Ralph Fernandez, he really is enjoying life at the moment on that TrackHouse Aprilia. Still not fully 100% fit. He has been reporting a bit of pain, discomfort in that left arm and left shoulder after the crash in FP1 at Portimao, which eventually ruled him out of all the race action last time out at the Algarve International Circuit. Fourth over the line, though, in yesterday's sprint, not even a second behind Fabio Di Giannantonio. And we heard from the boss, Justin Marks, they feel like Raul's got a real good crack at being in the hunt for the top three once again here this afternoon.
So much is going to depend on what happens at the start of this 27-lap Grand Prix. So the first sector of the first lap will tell us so much. So tricky to overtake around this circuit. Marc Marquez is ready to watch it with the rest of us. Of course, was able to enjoy his brother's success yesterday in the sprint. It's pretty clear where Marc's allegiances lie today.
Front row of the grid then for the final time in 2025. Fabio Di Giannantonio, third over the line in yesterday's sprint. Alex Marquez looking for his first ever double victory. But can Aprilia end their best ever season from the top step of the podium with Bezzecchi on pole?